In this lesson, we will learn how to add a video file to a web page. Before we get started, there's something that I would like to discuss. We will learn in this video that the syntax, the code for natively adding video to HTML pages is very simple. Anyone can write the code themselves. However, in the real world, it is my opinion that adding videos to a web page yourself without relying on some sort of third-party service or third-party JavaScript solution is an exercise in futility. However, this is a course on HTML, so I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't teach you how to use the native HTML tools to include video on a page. Now, towards the end of this lesson, I will explain a bit more in detail why perhaps it doesn't make sense for the average beginner to try to concoct their own video solution. But for the time being, let's get started. In front of you is an example page that I've created for this lesson. We can see that there's a bit of dummy text mentioning that there should be a video, but there's clearly not a video player at the moment. So our goal for this lesson is to work together to add a video player. Let's jump into our text editor, and we want to add a video directly below this paragraph. The first thing that I'll mention is that the code for including a video file is nearly identical to the code that we used for adding an audio file. So the element's name is simply video. Within the video element, we'll create another element named source. The first attribute that we assign to the source element is src, and this is where we point the web browser to the video file that we want to include. The video file that I want to include is currently on my desktop, and it is named example.mp4. Our website currently lives in this folder, so let's move the video file to sit in the same directory as our HTML web page. Now within this directory, let's create a folder named video just to stay organized, and then move our video into that folder. So within our code, we will move into the video folder, then include a /, and then simply type the name of the video file, example.mp4. The second attribute that we will want to add to our source element is named type. And it just lets the web browser know what type of file this is. So obviously it's a video file, and the extension is MP4. Finally, let's add the attribute name of controls to the parent video element to make sure that web browsers attempt to add pause, play, and volume buttons. So if I save and then refresh the page in Firefox, we see something interesting. If I were using a different web browser, say Google Chrome or Internet Explorer or Safari, the video would load correctly. However, because I'm using Mozilla Firefox for Mac OS X, currently that browser and platform does not support MP4 video files. In a month, or maybe 6 months, or maybe in a year it will, but as of today it doesn't. So what we can do is include a second source element inside our video element to make sure that different browsers can still view the video. Now on my desktop, I have a video file named example.webm. It's the exact same video clip as the video that's currently in the video folder named example.mp4. It's just been saved in a different file format. So let's move that into the correct folder, and then in our code, we will point towards that file. Video, example.webm. Type video with an extension of WebM. So now if I save and refresh in Firefox, we can see that there is a video. And when I click the play button, we should see movement with a voiceover. This is an example video file of me moving my mouse around. Excellent. But let's go the extra mile and add a third source element to make sure that every device and platform under the sun can view the video. On my desktop, I have a third file named example.ogv. So let's move that into the video folder. And then in our code, we'll create a third source element. Video example.ogv, and the type equals video with an OGG extension. So we now have 3 identical videos saved in different file formats, and these are the 3 most popular HTML5 video formats. I want to reiterate that the web browser will not download or send a server request for all 3 videos. It will stop as soon as it gets to the first video that it supports playback for. This means that among modern web browsers and devices, we have covered all of our bases, and we have ensured that our video is accessible. However, older or outdated versions of web browsers do not support native HTML video. They instead require a plugin, usually Adobe's Flash. However, this is a course on HTML, not Adobe Flash or building custom video solutions. So what we will do to handle legacy browsers is simply include a bit of simple fallback text. Your web browser is outdated and does not support HTML video. Please consider updating. And then we can make the word updating a link. And if users click on it, we'll point them towards a website named browsehappy.com. The Browse Happy website will give users more information on how to update their browser. So that's an example of how HTML can natively add video to a page. However, in the real world, it's a little bit more complicated than that. Here are a few reasons why. Number 1, older browser support. In the real world, it's probably not the best idea to tell users to hit the road if they don't have the newest web browser. So you will need some sort of Adobe Flash fallback support for legacy browsers. Number 2, video resolution. For example, if someone comes to our website and they have a slow internet connection, it probably doesn't make sense to serve them up a 1080p high-def video. So instead, we need a video solution that can do either one of two things, maybe even both. Number 1, automatically detect the user's speed and then adjust the video resolution or the quality of the video depending on their speed. Or number 2, we need to have some sort of resolution picker so users can click or tap on a menu to choose. Do they want 240p, 480p, 1080p, or somewhere in between to match their speed? Number 3, custom UI or branding concerns. So for example, what if we want to control the way that the pause and play icons look, or where they sit, or what color they are? In order to override the default HTML5 control bar, we're going to need to write a bit of JavaScript. Now, what do all three of these complications have in common? They are all outside the scope of basic HTML, which means until you are an experienced web developer, until you're familiar with writing JavaScript code, you will have a tough time tackling any of these issues on your own. And there's usually no sense in trying to reinvent the wheel. Instead, I recommend you use a third-party video hosting service. Some of them are free, some of them cost money, you can perform your own web search, but at the end of the day, it's a central place where you can upload a video, and they will take care of everything else for you. They'll give you a bit of code that you can copy and paste into your web page, and then your users, your visitors, will receive a flawless video experience. That's going to conclude this lesson on adding video to a web page. I'll see you in the next lesson.